distinct pleasure to introduce to our bima Dr. Gissen, who has spoken in our synagogue a few times before, most recently to our Judaica High School. We had a wonderful exchange with the high school students, but he is one of the world's leading experts in Middle East affairs. He served for a number of years as the primary personal advisor to former Prime Minister Ariel Sharon, for whom we still pray for his refuah shlema, whatever that might mean for him. But we still pray for him and express our concern for Sharon, and as well as for his family. But for us, it is a privilege to have Ra'anan Gissen, who just recently this week arrived back from Israel, and we are delighted and thrilled that the Jewish National Fund, through Debbie Regent, has arranged for him to be able to be with us tonight. He will speak a few moments and then answer questions as well. Dr. Gissen.
Thank you, Rabbi Kiefer, for the kind words. Beautiful sermon. Rabbi Lipson, Barry Stillman, Director of the Federation, Melinda Kiefer, Director of Education, David Kessler, President of the Synagogue. It's indeed a pleasure and an honor to be here again. I was here a year ago. Thank again to Debbie Regent, who's here. And I was here last year to talk about two major themes. One, why Israel is a winning society, and why is it so important to support a winning society. I'm here tonight to tell you why I think Israel is a winning society, but why it's urgent to support Israel so that it can really win. I'm here on behalf of the Jewish National Fund, which has just launched Operation Security Blanket Southern Israel. This is an emergency campaign focused on the negative, focused on the people in the negative. One of the projects that we are developing is a protective playground in Sderot. We build protective shelters for people, for children. Hamas builds protective shelters for missiles. That's all the difference that the rabbi alluded to. And we are sponsoring also sending families from Sderot to JNF camps to give them some respite, some peace of mind from the harrowing experience of incoming rockets. We built a fire station in Sderot now, and 5 more fire engines to take care of all the fires that burst out every time they launch 10, 20, 50 missiles into our cities and towns. And we need to build and maintain security roads along the border with Gaza to protect that area, residents as they travel to work or to school. So I'm here to promote these things, and I tell you why I think it's so important. Because, for lack of a better definition, we are now fighting the second Iranian war. The first one is in 2006. We didn't do quite well. Now we're doing much better. But have no mistake, it's not a war against another terrorist organization. It's not like the wars we fought against terrorist organizations in the 70s, in the 80s, the last century. Today, this is a war against the proxy of Iran. And if you want a better definition of what Hamas has done in the past 3 years since it rose to power, Hamas has developed the largest, most horrendous hostage-taking situation in the world. They've taken as hostages 1.5 million Palestinians. You talk about human shields, you talk about, they actually, because of the size of Gaza, 360 square kilometers, the densely populated area, they took the people of Gaza as hostages. Not on behalf of the Palestinian Revolution, but on behalf of the Ayatollahs in Iran. This is an Iranian-backed terrorist organization. So it's not surprising that there are no shelters for people in Gaza. The people in Gaza are the human shields. The shelters are provided for the missiles and rockets. We know how to get to them. We know how to get to those missiles. But the people are left there exposed It's a strategy in which Hamas stands behind its people with a pointed gun at their heads, and the television cameras are in front, taking the picture when these people die. Talk about the school. When I heard that this is happening, I was already in the States. I picked up the phone and I called the people and I said, don't fall into the trap. Again, this is Kfar Kana number 3. Where did Hamas learn this type of warfare? They learned it from Hezbollah. When the going is tough and they see that they're losing, you gotta produce bodies. You gotta create massacre. Produce massacre. Like you produce a television show. And it's a system that works very well now that they've practiced it several times. You bring people. Oh, you convince them, or you threaten them to come to a certain area. It could be a school, it could be a mosque. Stay here, you'll be protected here. And then they place a weapon, a mortar, or a missile, or a Katyusha rocket in the yard, and they fire it, knowing very well that the Israeli troops nearby will respond to the source of fire. And that's what happened in the school. We responded to the source of fire. But that doesn't explain why 15 minutes later there was secondary explosion throughout the school that killed these people. We did not kill these people. The school was booby-trapped, was rigged in advance. And they pulled the trigger. They have no problems killing. Human life does not count anything when they come. Oh, when they developed the system of suicide bombing, whether it was a car bomb or a human bomb, there are 2 triggers. One, the person who wants to commit suicide. But in order to make sure that he commits suicide, there's someone with a remote control to make sure that the explosion takes place, in case the guy gets cold feet. So here is the ultimate hostage situation. But not only did they take hostages 1.5 million Palestinians, they paralyzed 1 million people in Israel. 1 million people have come under the range of the rockets. Oh, and you heard, as the war progressed, they first launched against Sderot, then they had missiles that reached Ashkelon, and Kiryat Gat, and Ashdod, and Beersheba. Altogether, the 40-kilometer range of rockets cover an area in which 1 million people live. And when I came to you last year, I spoke to you why I think Israel is a winning society. Not because of its political leadership, I said because of the strength of the society. Now we are being tested. Because this war will be determined, the outcome of this war will be determined by the resilience, perseverance, and tenacity of those 1 million people. They are in the forefront. They are at the front of this war. They are backed very effectively by Israeli soldiers who are doing the job. But if they wouldn't be standing fast as they are and urging the government to once and for all complete the job, Israel would not be able to withstand all the pressure and all the efforts to stop the operation dead in its tracks. And we know that the Negev today is in peril, as it was in 1946. In 1946, the Jewish National Fund overnight established 11 settlements in the Negev in order to prevent the British family from handing over, that was one of the UN plans, handing over the Negev to Egypt. Beersheba was supposed to be a regional capital in Egypt. And the Jewish National Fund established these 11 settlements overnight because David Ben-Gurion and the heads of the Jewish Agency said, we have to do it now, before the commission comes. And it was at the eve of Yom Kippur. And when the commission came, 11 settlements were there. These are the settlements that are now being attacked. Nir'ab, Dorot, Netiv Asar. All those around Sderot.